Hi fellas. Quite often in social studies we'll ask you to draw a star diagram. We generally do that when we're starting a topic or we want to get a whole collection of ideas together and then see what kind of groups can come out from that. Now a star diagram is really simple. Basically it starts with a key point or a key idea or a key thing and then we add around it a whole lot of ideas from a brainstorm. So we just ask a whole lot of people what they think of something, what they associate with a word, and then we write them down around it. So I'm going to show you now just how you can do it in your books really quickly, because one of the things that you're going to have to do later on today in your work is to create a star diagram. So let's just say the question is, what is social studies? That's our question. All right. What we do in a star diagram is we would put it in a frame like that, and then around the outside we write down all the different things that we would associate or what we think social studies is. So I might think social studies is about countries. I might think it's about people. I might think it is about the environment. I might think it is about culture. And what we can do is we put a whole lot of these ideas together, and then what we can start doing is looking to see whether there are groups. So for instance, do people and culture fit together, and do countries and environment fit together? So can we say that, for instance, in here there's a natural aspect to social studies, things made by nature, and then there's also a cultural aspect, things made by people. So that's the way a star diagram works. Very simple thing to do, but it's a great way of getting all your ideas together in one go. Right, so we've now seen how to do a basic star diagram, and what we'll look at now is what happens when we kind of start spreading those ideas out a bit. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll start with an idea. In this case we've got Kiwi culture, and then we'll break it down to some groups that we may have already decided doing a star diagram earlier, and then from there we're going to add some of those ideas into those different groups, and that means we can kind of focus our attention and our study on different things, and that makes things much easier for us when we're doing a large study like we have on New Zealand Kiwi culture. So what I've got here is Kiwi culture. What is it? And then around the outside I've got 4 different families or things that I think we might be able to find some examples for. The first one here is icons. These are things that are uniquely New Zealand and very special to New Zealand. Language, maybe the way that we speak, maybe some words that we have that no other cultures in the world actually have. Some pretty cool ones that we do. People, maybe some famous people involved in the Kiwi culture over time. A person that springs to mind might be Edmund Hillary straight away, but there are others as well. And then places as well. Now there might also be things like events and clothing and foods and all sorts of other different aspects of New Zealand culture that we could look at. The way that you do a star diagram here is that you would have your different groups, and then coming out around it, you might say, for instance, a place might be the beehive, where our politicians are. You might decide another place over here would be maybe the giant gumboot, lives up in North Island. Language, it might be the word bro, which we use quite regularly. Icons, the fuzzy bee, and people, as I said, Sir Ed would be a good start. And what you would do is in each one of these, you would add more and more ideas together. And that means when we do a study, if we say, okay, let's look at just things like our language, we've got 4 or 5 things to start with straight away. And that's the value of doing a star diagram. All the very best, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.